Is that I had a little screw up with the relearn packet. I don't know. My guess is that not many of you tried to start the relearn packet last night, which is a good thing because I didn't have a relearn packet up there that matched the relearn packet that you guys have to do. So I put it up this morning. So it's up there today. It'll be a Qrtr Test 2A relearn packet. And for those who want to do it, you can check through and get that done. Molly, question?
Where's the K?
Don't worry, I put it on the answer sheet over here. Now, the next, hey, look in here, okay? That relearn packet, I'm not exactly sure when it's going to be due, but probably about 3 weeks. All right, so you want to get started on that, get it done as soon as possible. Let's see, what's the next thing? We're looking at one more test this market period. I think it's like the last Friday in January. All right, so that'll give you 3 test grades for the market period. So obviously making sure that relearn packet is done well. Or make sure that you're satisfied with the grade you're getting in that relearn packet. Okay, now as far as the quiz goes, yes, I forgot the K in the answer space. But it should be 28K over M, square root of 28K over M. Are there any questions, numbers 1 through 4? Okay. Lots of hundreds on the quiz, and some of the absolute dumbest mistakes in the world. I do believe it was Courtney who did it perfectly over here, and then as she wrote over here, you left off the negative. Was that one you?
No.
What did you do? You did a classic.
Yeah, I didn't write down the Y.
Oh, you didn't write down the Y. Okay. A couple of you guys still put 7 over 1/4. I have to believe you did not practice on your quiz from yesterday, because we talked about exactly that mistake yesterday and how popular it was. And both your classmates and in the first period class, the overwhelming majority of kids got that right. So remember, look at this as 1/4 MV squared, which means that it's being divided by 4. So the quickest and easiest opposite is to multiply by 4, and 7 times 4 is 28. I saw one person wrote 1/7. What did you do? No, but did you do something else wrong on a different one?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I put M squared on the first one. I put 28K over M squared.
Oh, yeah. Where did the squared's on the V, right?
Oh, yeah, that's Joe.
Yeah.
You set new standards in this.
But you guys told you have to get the V by itself.
You're good at this, Paulina.
Because I put 1/7.
That's what the square root does.
I'm stupid.
Square rooting opposite operations, you know? Okay. Caroline, I was very happy you did not put the X here. You did nice work. Okay. My impression is that vacation is lingering. And that some of you have yet to wake up from the vacation. Nick, you did something stupid. What did you do?
I had trouble waking up.
16 instead of 4.
Yeah, Nick put 16 instead of 4, right? I'll bet you your work has a 4 over here, right?
Yeah, I was dividing it, but I didn't divide it.
Okay, just one quick question. All right, so you did do everything divided by 4, right?
Yes. but I
Okay,
never-
so it was a stupid mistake, not a method mistake. Okay. All right, so the next thing I'd like to do, and this is extremely important, is take a look at the answers to the factoring part of your homework. So let's get that out. Got your last shot at 100 on the quiz tomorrow, so let's make it happen. Those of you who put over 1/4 in answer number 1, if you do that tomorrow, I will publicly beat you.
Whoa.
Capital punishment here.
I'd like to
I'll get out my taser.
Can we do living on like a rock?
I don't know, Jeff. Guys, let's get to, everything I just said was very tongue-in-cheek. Let's get to this. John, I'm afraid you're going to want me to actually do that.
Just bring them to the guilty.
Maybe, but all I'm just wondering, I can come into extra tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow's Friday?
Oh, it is?
No.
Sorry, I forgot Friday, I'm sorry. I thought it was Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, I keep thinking that today is Wednesday also because of the shortened week. All right. Any questions on any of these factorings?
Bless you, Jeffrey.
Alex, I would look on your back and make sure that you have both.
No, it's good.
All right. God bless. Man, oh man, I thought that maybe you would fall backwards in your chair.
I used to do that in 5th grade, not anymore.
Apparently you still do. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, this side of the room, just make sure there's no boogers all over you. And you know what they say about that, right?
Digging
Call-
for gold?
No, they call it mucus, but it's not.
Mucus, but.
I learned that when I was at Bayport High School. My old wrestling coach, my bio teacher taught me that line. Okay. Yes.
Can you do a recap of backwards box? I had no idea what to do.
Doing a backwards box is the same exact thing as factoring.
Yeah, but like, what do you do for like the multiples, like the trinomials?
All right, well, the big thing you have to understand with respect to, guys, the big thing that needs to be understood is the technique for now that we're using is called the AM technique. Now, in the midst of yesterday's doodling, do you remember what the A and the M stand for?
After morning.
No. Alice?
Adding and more.
Adding and multiplying. So, what you should be doing is looking at a question like this and saying to yourself, okay, like let's do, for instance, the first one and the second one. I want two numbers that add to the middle term and multiply to the last term. What's extremely important to do is to first focus on the last term, the multiplying part. And that's kind of counterintuitive because we usually go left to right and we usually do A before M. But you need to focus on the M first because it makes for a shorter list of candidates, so it'll cut your work down. Tell me how I can multiply out to positive 14. There are two ways to make 14. What are they?
7 times 2.
7, 2, and 1 and 14. So I could do 1 and 14, or I could do negative 1 and negative 14. Or I could do 2 and 7, or negative 2 and negative 7. Those are the ways to multiply out to be a positive. Okay? Now, from that list, because that's a nice short list, which combination adds to 9? 7 and 2. Now, all of that said, that is not final. God bless you. That is not final. To know that you're finally fully correct, you need to do the quick mental check when you multiply back, okay? A times A is A squared, A times 2 is 2A, 7 times A is 7A. What's 2 A's plus 7 A's? 9 A's, and 7 times 2 is 14, okay? So that's the technique that we want to do. Now, in the course of factorings, we learn certain things. For instance, if I do the lists of 12, and I know I want to get 8, so let's cut right to the chase and know that it's either 6 and 2, or it's negative 6 and negative 2. But in this particular problem, you want to add up to negative 8. So what are the only possibilities? Everybody? Negative 6 and negative 2.
Negative 6 and negative 2.
Now, one of the things that's important to also understand as you compare and contrast and you look at these different problems is this multiplies out to a negative 24. And if I want to multiply out to a negative 24, I could get a 3 and a negative 8 or a negative 8 and a 3. When I multiply out to a negative, these signs have to be opposite. When I multiply out to a positive, these signs are the same everywhere. So those are some things that you notice, and we just keep working our way through it, and eventually this becomes second nature, I think, to everyone in the class. Yes?
So all you need to do is figure out the factors for the last number.
That's right.
And use those to build your quick. Okay.
And then see which ones add to that middle term. Or as you wanted to say, build your answer. Okay, so now let's get to our do it question for the day. So this is done.
I like your new clock.
Thank you. That was a Christmas present from Jimmy.
I like your quote.
My
It
quote.
is what it is.
Yeah, that was from my sister. Many people ask me questions and I just say, it is what it is. So,
You told me about this morning.
what's that?
You told me about this morning.
Yep.
A lot of people ask me questions too. Then I say, I have no
Yes.
idea what you're talking about.
Also a song on this and a song with Sarah. You know a song with Sarah has
Well, here's the thing. I am a very limited, I have a limited awareness of music. I know rock music from the 70s and 80s, real rock, not the garbage you hear like pop stuff. I know, I believe it or not, I know fifties and early sixties pretty well, because my dad used to play fifties music all the time. And I know a lot of the bands that influenced a lot of the artists in the seventies and early eighties.
Beatles.
Well, bands that influenced the Beatles. Bands like, you know, you've got Elvis Presley, you've got Bill Haley and the Comets, you've got Richie Valens. There's a whole lot of them. The Pretenders, there's just so many.
Oh, I just got the Haley.
So, I know those bands. And other than that, there's an Irish singer by the name of Robin Mark I like a lot. There's Richie Mullins, who is my favorite. And then there is Bruce Springsteen, who is my second favorite and very close to Rich Mullins. Other than that, I don't know squat about music. So when people say, do you know songs, you probably know much better than I do.
I don't.
So, all right. So let's take a look now, if we can, at today's Do It and go through it step by step. Again, we talked yesterday about the importance of the Do It and how it's always reinforcing certain ideas that might appear on the Regents. It's reinforcing ideas that might be in lessons or quizzes to come, and also on that particular day's lesson or the lessons from the previous days. So as I look at this, it says solve for A, and solve for A very much catches my attention. You learn as a husband. What I'm about to say might get me in a lot of trouble, and this, I'm recording today's lesson, so I might really, really get some hate mail when I am done with this,
Are you reading this?
what I'm about to say. But there's this thing that goes around on like Facebook and in emails every once in a while,
Love that?
which is, I think, pretty true, but particularly women and ladies and members of the female gender might feel is not true. But it's something like, when a female says this, she really means that.
Oh,
Right? Have you ever seen that thing?
Yeah.
You know, so a particular one might be, you know, if you ask her, honey, how was your day? And she says, fine.
Fine.
Now, generally speaking, with a male, if a male says fine, it's fine.
Yeah.
But you have to pay particular attention to how the woman says fine.
We speak the language of sarcasm.
Yeah, well, lots of different
Sass and
things.
sarcasm.
Fluid
So,
sass.
as if you want your marriage to survive, if you personally want to survive, then I think it's very wise to learn to interpret such things. Likewise, you should learn to interpret solve for A. Solve for A, you should interpret, God bless, as meaning get A by itself or get A alone. So in this case, I've got some problems with my 4Bs and my 10As. So, I get 10A equals, I don't care if you write 5C plus 4B or 4B plus 5C, it makes no difference. By the way, this 5C is positive here, not because of the positive in front of the 4B, but in front of the 5C.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, the next step is to divide by 10. And you should be able to simplify this, because if it was and you could divide the whole thing by 10. One way that you might see this answer expressed on the test is this way, in multiple choice I'm talking about. But the other way is if they break it into its component pieces, and if they do that, you're likely to see it written this way. Or they could reverse it. They could put C over 2 plus 2B over 5. But you should be fluent in all of those ways of expressing the answer. Yes?
Just to check, I don't know why I did ever really pay attention, but I put it in decimals. That's still
Yeah,
right.
again, if you put 0.4 and 0.5, that would be okay. But I really do want you to feel comfortable in fractions. All right? You will find that if this was a multiple choice question, I would find it unlikely that they would be using decimals.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know what I
possible,
did.
but unlikely. Oh, I know what you did. You used your calculator. Yes?
Yeah, actually, I didn't.
Well, most kids with their calculators will put decimals. Yes?
Is 1/2 C okay?
Yes, yeah, 1/2 C is good. Okay, now, the next question, factor using the GCF. Very important thing I'm gonna teach you right now. So if you're one of these kids who likes to get a head start on your homework, stop. Take a look at this question, and I want to ask you, did you do what Miss Daly calls the double bubble?
Who's
Yes.
Daly? Who's that?
Did you go like this and put your parentheses and set up 2 packages?
Who's
No.
She's the teacher who used to teach here, who now teaches at the high school. She's an excellent teacher. I hope that you get a chance to have her. She's a very, very, very good teacher. A lot of kids will look at a question like this, and they will set up the double packages, like we just did on the questions on the homework that we went over that Noah asked about. What happens is they see the squared, and they go for the double packages right away. I want to do a slightly different question. Oh, man, I blew it.
Roman numerals.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I left this on the board. I wish I didn't do that. You had seen the answer, so now it wouldn't be effective.
Why?
The original question looked like this. Let's see here. Equals, oh, this one. That one. So that one lines up there, and I'm just gonna be down a row. Hold on. So this is a very famous question, and I did this question when I was in college. The last class asked me if I got it right, and I can't remember if I did or not. I guess that's a sign that it really is time to retire. What I can tell you is this. I've given this question for 32 years, and with just about every student over 32 years, and I've had 120 kids a year or so for 32 years, plus summer school. So I've probably given this question to about 4,000 kids. And of the 4,000 kids I've given it to, 2 have gotten it right.
I guess it's one.
Now, the question works like this. Each of these marks is considered like a toothpick, okay? And your job is to move one toothpick in each line to make each line, first one, second one, third one, fourth one,
I
equal.
got this.
You're not allowed to take like one of the matchsticks or toothpicks and cross out the equal sign and say not equal. That would be trivial. So
Man.
the first one, you could just cross this out and make that this. And I heard someone mention Roman numerals before.
I did.
So then 11 equals 11 or xi equals xi. And then on the second one, it doesn't really matter if you make the x a v or the v an x. Here's the second one. Let's take the x and make it a v. And then I get 7 equals 7, or v11, vii equals vii. And on the next one, we can just make this into an x, and 13 equals 13. And then you get to the last one. And kids look at it, and look at it, and look at it, and nobody gets it right.
Put a
The
line
correct
down the
answer
I know
is
how
to
to do
take
it.
the last one and move it up top,
Because the square root of 1
because
is
the
what?
square root of 1 is 1.
Oh.
But
snap.
what's been shown by this question is that if I give you the 3 Roman numeral questions before the last one, which is the only one that's hard, you're almost never gonna get it right. Because I have conditioned your brain to think in terms of Roman numerals. And what happens is this with kids. Kids will say to themselves, I got this. They're looking for shortcuts all the time. So they're not really interested in the guts of what's going on. They're interested in being able to get to the right answer as quickly as possible, so that they can go back to whatever else they were doing. So they say, okay, I got this, Roman numerals, Roman numerals, Roman numerals, they look Roman numerals. What they've shown is that you're about 10 times more likely to get this correct if I don't put the first 3. If I just put the last line. Because now, even though it's still a hard question, now kids are not programmed into thinking Roman numerals, Roman numerals, Roman numerals. So they have to think differently. Now, the reason I bring all of that up is that it applies to this question. Most kids, when they see an x squared term like this, immediately go like this. Because they just get used to it.
No.
They just start, oh, okay, we'll do this, AM.
Wrong.
It is wrong. What do you do before you cross the road? You
Look both ways.
Now, I am living proof that this needs to be done, and it might not even
One way,
protect
not
you.
the other.
It might not even protect you if you do it. But at 7 years old, I got hit by a car. And then, I don't remember if I looked both ways when I was 7. But I do know that I looked both ways 3 or 4 years ago. And, well, I only had to look to the left, to the right was the curb. And a guy on my left actually cut in front of me, he didn't care that I looked. But you need to make sure that you look both ways, otherwise something really bad could happen. And when it comes to factoring, your first step is not the double bubble. Your first step is always, 100% of the time, can we put pens away and get focused here? Your first step is to always look for a common factor. always, what did I just say?
Always look for a
Always look for
common factor.
Is there a common factor here?
Yeah.
Yes, there is, 7.
There's a 7 and an x, so then it's x minus 3. Some kids in the last class said, oh, I factored out the 7, I didn't factor out the x. Again, that's like taking 4/8 and making it 2/4. We have to go all the way to a half. You gotta get out the common
All
number
the
and
way
the
up.
common variable. Check by multiplying back. Remember, we always do quick mental checks, double, in this case, single distribute back. So 7x times x is 7x squared, 7x times -3 is -21x. Okay? The moral to the story is this, and you will hear me say this many, many, many times. What do you do before you cross the road?
Look
Look
both
both
ways.
ways. What do you always do when you factor? You look for the common factor. You do that before you go forward, because if you don't do that, you may still factor, but you're going to make your life miserable. Pulling out a common factor makes your life very good and very simple, because factoring it with a common factor is the easiest way to do things. John and Nixon, your head's in the game, right? Okay. What are the slope and the y-intercept? What I'm testing here is a couple of different things. The first one is get y by itself, but I'm also looking to see that you have mastered the trick, the danger, danger, danger part of this. What kind of 5y is that?
That's a positive.
That's a negative 5.
That's a negative
wait,
five.
It's a
oh,
positive that
before.
you're subtracting.
So -5y equals -3x plus 10. Again, now I definitely want the x in front because of y equals mx plus b form. Then I divide by -5. And I get y equals 3/5 x minus 3.
Over. Or minus.
And that's the correct answer. Okay? Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Nope.
All right. Now,
Factoring is division.
factoring is division. It is anti-distribute. We only have a moment before class ends, but I'd like everybody to do number 13.
Thanks, buddy. So Sean is now the third person to
You
get
have
it right.
about 15
Out of
seconds.
4,000.
Let's go.
Sir.
There is no common factor.
How dare you.
Since there's no common factor, we go double bubble. Bless you.
Bless you, Brandy.
You know what's x and x? Now, what two numbers multiply? Remember AM? What two numbers multiply to -12 and add up to 1? Nick?
Positive 4 and negative 3.
Actually, yes, +4, -3, because I add up to a +1. Quick mental check, x squared plus 4x's minus 3x's is 1x minus 12. Hasta la vista, bye con Dios, toodaloo, ta-ta, arrivederci, smile a lot, ciao, arrivederci, adios amigos y amigas, cheerio, arushus, gadafes, shalom, have fun. Hasta la bye-bye, hasta la lasagna.
Get out of the room.
I love you.
Yes, I do love you very much.
Yeah.